is natural gas, and electricity. You see, the gray and the red, and it goes for residential. And then there is some coal, there is some other sources. Most of the renewables are here, the renewables are there, and except for some biomass, the renewables are all into producing electricity. So this chart tells us what is used for what. But this chart tells us also a lot of other things, because it tells us here that this is petroleum. I'm sorry, it's not very easy to see. I'm very sorry for this. It's unfortunate. I don't know if we could put it larger. Half of the petroleum in the United States, a little bit, around half of the petroleum is imported from abroad. Another half is produced in the United States. You know that. So there are two problems here for if you are interested into the energy. There is a problem of imports, and it means the relations with the importing countries. In the case of United States, the importers are Venezuela, difficult country. The Middle East, difficult region. North Africa, some say that it's a difficult region. And so on. So, and more recently, Mexico is another country from where the United States are importing oil. Natural, but then there is domestic production, which is another difficult problem. There is also, it's a difficult problem, which is the domestic production of petroleum and the domestic production of natural gas. This plus this is the problem of Alaska, the problem of offshore drilling off the coast of California, which has been questioned for many years. The question of smaller oil drilling and gas drilling in the Midwest. But it's also a problem which we see here in Italy. We have domestic production of oil in the south of Italy, in Basilicata. It is a serious problem which has a lot of resistance. We have gas production here in Italy off the coast of the Adriatic. It is a problem that could help, that could be helped by producing more, could help the dependency of Italy, and it doesn't. So these problems we see in the United States, we can see the same here in Italy. We have coal. In the case of the United States, coal is all produced in the United States. In the case of Italy, for instance, coal is all imported. But coal is used quite a bit in United States. And it's so when you have coal, but also when you have petroleum or you have natural gas, especially if coal and natural gas are used for power generation, you have a problem of efficiency, how it is used. Because coal can be used with the lousy old technology, or coal could be used with a very modern and very advanced technology. Sorry. You have a problem with nuclear. Nuclear is considered, has been considered and is now reconsidered as the energy source for the future, because nuclear has no CO2 emission, so it makes it, it is a carbon-free technology. While nuclear is certainly a technology, very high technology, has a lot of implication of research and development, has a lot of implication of social acceptance, and in this country there was also not only a social acceptance but social and political leadership, because this is probably the case why nuclear hasn't been pushed very much, because you need to have a strong political system and administrative system, like they have in France. As Mark Hopkins was saying, in France, when the president decides something, then everybody does it. So when a president in the United States, in France, in the 70s, decided that they will have nuclear power plants, they had nuclear power plants, and so many that they export nuclear energy. And so the situation was very different, for instance, in this country, but also in the United States. In the United States, there are no nuclear power plants since 1976, correct me if I'm right, or 77. And so things are, a lot of the energy problems that you hear about these things, you read and they tell you, everything should be solved with solar. Well, solar, where is solar? Here is solar. Okay, in the United States today, it does less than 1% of energy contribution. It might increase. We hope it will increase. It will double, triple, multiply by 10, but it will still be very limited in the midterm. It is difficult to take over. Oh, thank you. And you have wind, and wind is the same. I mean, wind has a very limited contribution. It is probably will have certainly will have a larger contribution in the future, but we have to see where we're starting from. Now we have, why do we use all of this petroleum that we hate, and the natural gas and the coal that we hate, and we open a newspaper and we only see that petroleum is bad, that coal is bad, then gas is almost bad, and all the rest are fantastic. I mean, if you turn the page, and if you are on a certain page, it's nuclear is fantastic, and another page is wind, which is fantastic. Nothing is fantastic, and there are no good kids. There are only bad kids. And there are interests, there are policies, there are constraints, there are physical constraints, there are prices, because when you look at, last year, in the middle of the year, petroleum arrived